Hi, I wanted to share an idea with you today. I want to ask you a question. When you think about being in heaven, after you've gotten over the awe of even being there, who is it that you see there? When you imagine yourself running up to someone in heaven, someone from your own life maybe, who is it that you imagine seeing there? Um, and I guess that question comes with the idea of we can imagine a lot of people that are there. But I want you to imagine the people that don't pop into your mind first. Maybe it's the person who bullied you in high school. Maybe it's your ex. Maybe it's um, the neighbor who always lets their dog out at 3 o'clock in the morning, or maybe it's a person who hurt you in some way. Sometimes those people aren't the ones who pop into our mind first that we'll be running to greet in heaven. Uh, but I want to challenge you to consider this idea. Stephen was mentioned for only a short period of time in the Bible, and he was martyred, stoned. And when the people were done stoning him, they went and laid their coats down at the feet of Saul. And Saul was sort of at the head of this movement of people who were against the new Christians. Um, he says himself that he was the top Pharisee. He was no, you couldn't get more of a Pharisee than he was. Um, and he thought he was doing right for God, and it was it was him who condoned what they did to Stephen. And but I want to say that I know for a fact that when Stephen sees Paul in heaven, he will run up to him and he will say, "Brother, I'm so glad you're here." And they'll get to talk about what happened after Stephen died. And they'll get to talk about the great sacrifice that happened on Stephen's behalf, but how many people it saved after that. Now, of course, Christ is the one who saves, but Stephen's life, even though it was so shortly mentioned, left such a lasting mark on Paul's life. His testimony there at the very end, where he's expounding to this group of people who are putting him on trial, and he's just preaching to them straight from heaven. And then he sees heaven open up, and they see that light on his face, and they're so overcome with evil that they're gnashing their teeth, and they run at him, and they take him outside and stone him. But Paul witnessed all that. And that is what laid the foundation for Christ to be able to come to him and give him those 3 days of solitude. And as a side note, take those days of solitude for yourself. Sometimes you can't hear God's voice in the loud, stressful life that you're in. I really encourage you to take that time if you need it. But it allowed God to pierce his heart, because that witness laid the foundation for that. And Paul's ministry has saved countless people. The way Christ was able to use Paul was fantastic. And he went out to everywhere. He went out as far as he could go. He preached from prison. He preached on the street. He preached right after being stoned. He preached all over the place Christ. And even today, his messages, because he wrote most of the books of the New Testament, his message is still saving people. Christ is still using him. And it was because Stephen was willing to be a witness to people who, the very same people who had crucified Christ. And I know for a fact that Stephen will be overjoyed to see Paul in heaven. And I just want to ask you to search your heart. Who is it that maybe you feel isn't even worthy to be there? Who is it that you can't imagine fitting in? Because that's the person you need to be praying for. That's the person you need to be reaching out to. That's the person you need to be loving. And only Christ can give you that kind of love. Only Christ can give you the strength or the ability or the patience even to talk to some of these people who we think don't fit in with the goodness of God. But we have to remember that that was us. We are all Sauls in some way, but we need to be Stevens. And just the same way that God turned Saul into Paul, he can do that with us too. And even if we think that we're on the right path or that we are good enough, we have a long way yet to go. And every day we go a little further on our journey, and we can share that with someone else. But I just had that thought today. I want us to search our hearts, and the very people we can't imagine being excited to see in heaven, the very people we think might even hurt to see in heaven, those are the ones that we need to pray for the most. And we need to pray for ourselves as well, because a heart that belongs to God wants to see all people saved. All people, especially the ones who have hurt us the very most. And we all have someone like that. And in some people's lives, we are that person. And we need to be willing to lay aside our ego and our pride and our pain and pray for these people, because in heaven we'll be happy to see them there. And I pray that I'm able to let God into my heart so that he can overcome what holds me back from reaching out to people who have been difficult in my life. And I pray that they're able to open up their hearts to me as well, because I've been difficult in people's life also. So I just challenge you today to pray for those who despitefully use you and persecute you, because that's what Stephen did. That's what Christ did. And that's what will pave eternity with endless joy, because we will be genuinely happy to see the people that we've prayed for. Even if they've hurt us, we'll be happy that they're there. Pray that all of our hearts are turned toward Christ, because the time is getting short. Even if Christ doesn't come in our lifetime isn't limitless. So let's make a choice for him today. Let's give him our whole heart today. And let's be praying for those who have yet to choose him. Because once we do, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Have a great day.